I, as a kid, respected Bob Knight because his pizzazz, his influence as a basketball coach, a college basketball coach, changed college basketball for the better. When you look at Coach K and you look at all the great coaches in college basketball history, every one of them said that Bob Knight transitioned the game, changed the game, made them fall in love with the sport. Knight became the youngest coach at a Division I school in history when he started coaching in Army in 1965. Knight then coached Indiana from 1971 to 2000 and led them to 5 Final Fours, 3 national championships, and an undefeated season in 1975 to 76. Knight finished his coaching career with 902 wins, 6th most in NCAA basketball history. Knight also coached Team USA in 1984 Olympics, winning the gold medal. Knight is one of only 3 coaches in basketball history to win an NIT title, an NCAA championship, and Olympic gold medal. Bob Knight was not only a guy that transitioned the game of basketball, he brought college basketball to the helm. And when you look at Bob Knight, he was the youngest coach in NCAA history. He took Army to that height, which transitioned him to taking that Indiana job. And when he took that Indiana job, it changed everything for Indiana basketball. Indiana basketball became one of the best in college sports. That undefeated season in 1975-76 will never happen again. When you go undefeated in a regular season, which Kentucky, they fell short in the March Madness tournament. To look at what Bob Knight did, you can't look at statistics, you can't look at the championships that he's won, the NITs, or even the Final Fours. What you see Bob Knight as a coach, Bob Knight didn't believe on paying players. There are a lot of coaches over the years that have, I guess you could say, cheated. Bob Knight was not one of those coaches. He was never one of those coaches. Even when he retired, when people were talking about, have you ever thought about paying a player to come and play for you in the school or sneaking some money under the desk to help these kids and their families because they come from families that don't have anything? And Bob Knight said, we give them a college education, and that's all they should have. They can get a chance to help their families after they graduated. When you look at Bob Knight and what he has done for college basketball, his statistics speak for themselves. 902 wins. How many coaches in NCAA history has had 902 or more wins? 5. And remember, Bob Knight, he retired because he had a lot of illness. He was sick. He wanted to coach even longer. There were other teams and other colleges that were offering him opportunities to take over their program. He decided not to take over those programs. He wanted to retire as an Indiana Hoosier.
I think even Kentucky, before they hired Calipari, was one of those teams.
Absolutely. He wanted to retire as an Indiana Hoosier. And he changed college basketball because he told coaches, if you're a great coach and you know how to build a program, you stay there and you build that program. Look at Bill Self in Kansas. Bill Self sat down with ESPN and he said, who changed your life as a head coach? And he said, Bob Knight, coaching the Indiana Hoosiers and staying with one team, building one program all those years. That changed everything for him. He helped build Kansas for the better. And that had a lot to do with Bob Knight.
Yeah, and you look at Indiana being called the state of basketball, too. The reason for that is Bob Knight. You look at Indiana just getting that national track record, the Hoosier State, Hoosiers basketball. He really grew that program. Army guy, Army mentality, youngest coach in NCAA history. He was 24. He had finished just playing at Ohio State, then started coaching, and then coaching there forever, doing it the hard way, discipline. He had the antics on the court, which were great. All the passion. He threw the chairs around. He argued with the refs. He argued with security guards. It was fiery, and it was something that college basketball needed to really make it fun and grow the game the way they had it. I didn't get to see him at Indiana. I was too young, but I even saw him at Texas Tech the last 3 years of his coaching career. He had that same level of passion even at an older age. One of the icons of college basketball, and he will never be able to be duplicated again. I don't think that undefeated season will ever be duplicated again. Kentucky couldn't do it. Gonzaga was pretty close. I don't think it'll ever happen again.
83, it's a long-lasting life. And do the things that he has done as a college coach and as a basketball coach and helping men grow. That's something that you look at. Half of the kids that he coached over the years, all of them, I'm sure, could say a lot of crazy things about Bob Knight, but always would say that he was a professional. He was what Indiana Hoosier basketball was. He transitioned the game, college basketball, and helped a lot of these kids grow, not only education-wise, but as basketball players. So it's sad to lose a great coach like that, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah, and you look at the passion he has for the game as a whole. Even after he was coaching, he was doing studio analysis. He was working with other coaches, too. He was working with other kids. And this is a guy that's worked with Army guys. He's worked with NBA players in the Olympics and all levels of college, in all phases of it. Impactful guy to the game of basketball, impactful guy to college basketball, the growth of the Big Ten, and a lot of these other power conferences. Rest in peace, Bob Knight. You will be missed.